Hello everybody, welcome back to the 7 stages of money. We are beginning in stage 2. I hope you've watched stage 1. If you haven't, go back and watch the video on stage 1 to bring you up to point, up to this stage, and then we'll just go ahead and move forward with stage 2. Okay, I'm going to assume you've watched the first video. All right, so in stage 2 of this 7-stage cycle that money always goes through, always, for over the last 6,000 years and in every civilization, okay, every empire that you can think of. And we've got a number of empires, okay, I'm talking all the way from the beginning, whether it's the Egyptian Empire, the Assyrian Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, then you have the Grecian Empire, the Roman Empire, and what's currently still going, I guess you could say, the Anglo-American Empire, which is Western civilization, Britain, and the U.S. We are together an empire. America is really just a cousin or arm or branch of England, okay, Europe. All right, so all of those empires throughout time have followed the same cycle. Not only have they followed the same cycle has led to their demise. Winston Churchill, the name should speak to it. I think everybody knows who Winston Churchill is, or even have heard of him. But Winston Churchill is famous for saying, and I may get it a little off, but he says, the further you can look into the past, the farther you can see into the future. Something to that effect. Basically meaning that history repeats itself. Mankind is going through the same cycles over and over again, even the ones that are destructive. We have not shown an ability, a willingness to learn from our mistakes of the past. The newer generations forget about all of the lessons that the prior generations learned and move on to make the same mistakes. It's absolutely ridiculous. It blows my mind. But these are the stages. So, stage 2, what we have here is, and I'm going to have to start writing smaller, government. Okay, this is our stage 2, government. Government is our stage 2. You guys read that there? Government. Okay. What happens is, eventually we continue to progress. This society that we have continues to progress, right? And over time, we develop the need for a government, or honestly, a government kind of forms on its own. It's really like a human nature thing, right? We need leadership. And so a government is formed for the sake of law and order, a rule of law, okay? Systems of our new society, okay? Now, what happens is the government gets formed, and somehow, some way, I personally believe it's power. Power corrupts, okay? And so they always go beyond what they're needed for. Government is really only needed there for a rule of law, to make sure things are done in an ethical, in a moral fashion, and in a legal fashion, okay? It creates the laws, right? But they always go beyond that. And so what happens is the government begins to get involved in the free market. The government gets involved in the free market. And how does the government get involved in the free market? Well, we know how that works because it works that way today. The government gets involved in the free market first and foremost via regulations. The government comes in and starts saying, hey, hold up, you can't trade like that. You must trade like this. Or hold up, if you're trading that thing, you have to pay this kind of tariff. If you're bringing in that such a thing, you will pay this sort of tariff and this sort of tax. You see? And then before we know it, we no longer have a free market. Because the government is now, via regulations, controlling the market. They can manipulate the market. Does that make sense? And so as the government manipulates the market, we move further and further away from a free market. And then the next thing the government does is the government quickly takes the control of money. See? This is just another part of the market, is the money, the gold. And the government then begins to regulate that, take control of that, determine what can come in, what can go out, so forth and so on. They even begin to take the coinage and mint the coinage. The government owns the money. They begin to say, we own the money. And then they put their face on it. Whatever king, Caesar, emperor, queen, whatever you want to call it, the flag, they put their name on it, their marks on it. So now the government owns the money. And the government basically now owns every form of the market. This free market that we created as a free people is now gone. It will not come back. We will continue down this path now that we have a government. And let's just go ahead and add the government makes the laws, okay? They create the laws. I don't want to make it look like the government does nothing good. They make the laws and they create, taxes and tariffs and things of that nature, systems. Okay, the systems of operation throughout the society, the systems of a society, right? And so this is what happens in our stage 2. But if you've noticed, the important part for me here is to notice that this free market that we started out with in the preset with just free people putting their hands and feet to work in the earth and creating wealth, that is quickly gone. The second you guys start doing something or growing, that goes away. Okay, and the government comes in, and now the government begins to take over this free market. See, the government, once they get in the market, they have to win. The government doesn't invest in the medical community to lose. You see this in our world, okay? You can easily see it in the medical field. We got Obamacare coming up, right? Do you not think that the pharmaceutical industries know every ounce of that legislation? It's probably the pharmaceutical industry that wrote, majority of that legislation, because Barack Obama didn't write it, right? We all know that. So who wrote it? Okay. But you better believe that the pharmaceutical industry knows where they can benefit as a business through the control of government in the free market. Because when Obama says this is where we're going with government, businesses understand, well, I'm going there. Because they can't lose. They won't lose. They control the money. All I have to do is get in the way of that money. That money is coming. I'll get in the way of that money, I'll get rich. But the point is, you don't have a free market. Okay? And so when you hear all of our politicians today talk about free market and free trade, they're lying. It's controlled trade. Free trade would mean government would get the hell out of the way and let us just handle it. This is stage 2 of the 7 stages of money. Never fails. The people gather, the people progress, government forms. Human nature. Unfortunately, usually the wrong people end up in government, but this is the way it works. Okay, so this is stage 2, folks, of our 7-stage phase. I hope you are enjoying this. I hope you're getting something from this. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say. I hope 1 and 2 didn't jump too far for you. Government came. I guess we do need some form of government, but this is the start of the problem. Okay. All right. So that's stage 2. We will move on to stage 3. I will see you guys on the next side of this video for stage 3. Stay tuned. It's getting better. I'll see you in the next video.